Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Having to get a reading out, so I had to sort of pause it. Anyway, part two of my testimony. So, as I was saying, I got into my new place with my 13-year-old, and temporarily was wonderful. It really was. Things were going pretty damn smooth, right? On the outside. Um, but it was this heaviness, a huge heaviness that I just couldn't put my finger on. And then again, at the time, never did I think to pray or I knew nothing about meditation, no tapping in to spirit and things like that. I continued to keep working up this dark, it's disgusting really, this dark mutation of energy, if you will. I continue to let myself get used. I continue to manipulate people and lie to the point where, again, it was starting to go out of control again. And I think my son was at this time 15. And we had gotten into some kind of argument or spat or something. And just to point this out, I've not yet to speak to my oldest son at this time, okay? So there was things left unsaid with me and the youngest son who had just moved in at the age of 13. And we got into this argument or whatever, which I thought was totally, completely rude and disrespectful. And he was with his grandmother, and I winded up setting a set of his clothes outside and told him not to come home until the following day. Well, this is where it all started spiraling down. I want to say this was in 2000 and end of 2019. I want to say. Anyhow, someone winded up calling CPS on me and had said that I kicked my 15-year-old out. Not that I did that at all. Never have I had child protective services on me, regardless of the shitty shit that I had been through and put my kids through. I did this time. So it was funny though, because they'd come to the door and, I'm like, can I help you? Because you sure can't come in my house unless you got a paper to say so. Well, no, I don't. So we sit outside for a good 20 minutes in the cold. We'll let her talk. And then I eventually let her come in after 20 minutes at least. But she still couldn't look around my place because I knew that I hadn't done what I was accused of doing. And I still didn't know who called. I had my assumptions and my guesses, but we'll get to all that here shortly. Anyhow, so she comes in, evaluates, says, well, everything looks fine, just sign this, blah, 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 blah. And I get a phone call for a whole year. I'm having to go through these CPS classes or whatever. At that moment is when me and my youngest son, it's so crazy, but we were able to talk about what happened in the past and build the most strongest, firmest bond that we've ever had, ever. That's when we reconnected. Because I have to say, when he first come to me, it was sad. Because we didn't know each other. I had lost all that time with him and he me. There was so many lies and things that was told to him that I didn't do or didn't say. All of these things were coming in small little increments. That's going to lead me up to the point that I'm getting at here. But anyhow, I can remember the first year we was together, we just sit and cried with each other, not knowing what to do or what to say. We were that lost. It was sad. But anyway, moving past that, the year came or whatever. Nothing major happened. You know, she signed away. Everything was fine. I mean, I think she knew it was about probably the second week, I want to say, because me and Shane had already started building this foundation and talking through things. Still, though, I didn't know who called me in and said that, because it definitely wasn't being kicked out. At this point, I still didn't know. Well, anyway, moving on through 2020, I got a phone call June 6th. And let me say before then, not only has my family shunned me and my youngest son at this point, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but my oldest son was invited to my sister's for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but me and his brother were not. And there was one year that even my dad and my brother was all going to my sister's, but they would not even come pick up my youngest son to take him to see his brother, but I still was not ever invited. It just don't make sense. It just didn't make sense at the time at all. I was like, what the fuck? And that's my words exactly. So me and my youngest son have spent the past 6 holidays alone. Just me and him. Still to this day. Still to this day. Now, I've reached out many times and invited friends and family, and nobody never shows. So, yeah, still to this day, that's happened. Absolutely. Anyhow, as a matter of fact, what is this? This is December 6th now, and I'm looking at our tree that me and him put up. This will be our 7th year doing it by ourselves and spending our holidays by ourselves. And that's something I'm still working on now. So, June 6th, June 5th, 4th, 2020, I get a phone call that my ex-husband, the one who I was with for 16 years and in South Carolina and everything, has passed away. The sad thing about that is I never got to tell him that I was sorry. So that weighed on me. Anyhow, he passed away, and his viewing was the day of a court date that I had. Because I had previously invited friends who I thought were friends over and helped them and done this and that and the third and try to help them get off drugs and everything. Well, this one friend left drugs in my car and I got hemmed up with it. I ain't never had no charges in my life. But I did that one. And anyway, I'll get through that another day. But the day that I had to go to court was the day that he had to be, that we had the viewing. That was rough. And the day that because when we had the viewing, this was through COVID. So they postponed it until a Thursday. My court did. And Thursday, they were having the burial. So not only did I have to go once, but twice to court and then leave there and go to a man that I was with for 16 years, my son's father's funeral. Right? So at this time, I was starting just to look at tarot cards, right? Because I just knew something wasn't right about me and my son not being invited to Thanksgivings no more. Just something wasn't freaking right, man. And so I did start looking into them a little bit, reading them on YouTube, things like that. And then when he passed away, it was the strangest thing because I don't know why I instantly felt connected or tapped in, but I wanted to know the reason that he passed. So I'm sitting in my room and I'm like, give me a sign, show me how did this happen. I mean, because he wasn't but a year older than me. And I knew he was an addict and everything, but I also knew the female he was with too. I was like, what happened? How did this happen? How did this happen? So, and I was demanding answers. So, the first time in 10 years or more, my oldest son comes from South Carolina here because of the death. And we all go up together in Virginia. And as we're walking in, my youngest son hands me 4 tissues. And I'm like, I can't go in here. I just really could not. And the grandmother, his mom, come out and said, you really need to do this. You know, you need to go and all that. So I did. I walked in, and I'm standing there, just standing there, and crying, silently sobbing. And as I'm doing that, I'm wiping my face with these tissues. And as I'm doing that, I feel something warm, like silk, on my face. And I look down, and honest to God, y'all, I thought that my face was bleeding. I'm not kidding you. Because that's how warm it was. But then I look down, and I see this tissue, a different color. And the nephew behind me says it's just the lighting. Because there was like a red light on top of the ceiling looking downward. And I'm like, all right. So the more I look at it, I'm hearing something telling me to throw them. Well, I'm not going to do that in the funeral home. So I sit down into a clear light and I look at them. And I'm watching this tissue change from a white to a peach color. Now, they were all 4 white. And I keep hearing throw them. And what I'll do is I'll leave pictures, if I can, at the end of this video. Y'all tell me what y'all think. So I get up and I go outside is what I do. I'm not going to throw them on the floor. I open my son's, I get his keys and I open the passenger car door and then I toss them. What I seen in them tissues were amazing. And that was my beginning journey of this whole spiritual path that I am on today. And let me tell you something. When I'm telling you it is real, honey, best believe it is true. I'll have part 3 soon.